What's up everyone, Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I'm kicking off year-end lists here. I'm going to do the top 10 EPs, at least in terms of what I've picked up for 2021. It's been a pretty solid year for music, and pretty much as I thought, with the pandemic, a lot of bands just sat back and wrote a lot of stuff, and if they didn't write a full length, they wrote a shorter offering that was really interesting as well. Either that or they just had some extra stuff lying around and decided to work on it and kind of build more on it and released a shorter offering. There were a lot of killer EPs that came out this year, and I had to whittle it down to 10, which, believe me, when it came down to the full lengths, that was even more difficult to get it down to 40, but those are coming. But this is pretty much to kick it off, so here we go. Top 10 EPs of 2021. Number 10, Mayhem, Atavistic, Black Euphoria / Kommando. This one actually came as a bit of a surprise to me. This was essentially just leftovers from Demon, at least the first half of this, and this is kind of cool because it's a two-parter. The songs left over from Demon, they didn't believe really fit the entire flow of the album, so they left them here for an awesome fucking offering in terms of an EP, and those original tracks are absolutely amazing. But what was really cool was this was a two-part EP, and the second half completely changed everything. They decided to do a bunch of punk covers, and they did a really good job on them. They completely changed the production on the second half too. It had a completely different feel. I really enjoyed this EP just because this kind of just seemed like they were having fun. And to be honest, Mayhem's history isn't completely loaded with fun. I think it's loaded with more stab wounds and church burnings than fun. But this was a really cool offering. I enjoyed pretty much the entire thing. Both halves really just kind of complement two different sides of the band, and both of them were really good. So yeah, if you haven't checked out this EP, this was absolutely killer. I'm looking forward to what Mayhem does in the future, but I think in terms of the punkier side, this may be the only offering they do on that. I could be wrong. They could come out with a more punk, D-beat album or something like that. I don't know, but if this is it, this makes this EP very revisitable. So yeah, check it out. Number 9, Disembodiment, Mutated Chaos. This is their debut EP on Everlasting Spew Records, and this is just flat out old school, kind of groovy, brutal death metal. Like, it really kind of took me back to, first getting into Broken Hope and, stuff like early Dying Fetus, Baphomet, except this labors more groove, and my god, the riffs on here are just foul. This is loaded with killer breakdown riffs, deep gurgly vocals, big kind of almost doomy sections too, and my god, the song titles are fucking hilarious. Metaphytic gunk of putrefied limbs. I love the fact they use the word gunk. That's a great word. I mean, there's tons of other gross words to use, but gunk is at least playful and still gross. All 6 tracks in this, completely whooped ass. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I jammed the shit out of it, and I'm looking forward to a full-length offering from these guys for sure in the future. Definitely check this out, especially again if you love like kind of old school proto brutal death metal. It kind of has that sound, and of course loads of groove, because that is all over here too. Definitely check this one out. Witch Vomit, Abhorrent Rapture. I was kind of hoping for a new Witch Vomit release this year, and I kind of wanted a full length because Buried Deep in a Bottomless Grave was one of my favorite albums. Actually, I think it was my number 2 album the year it came out. And we got Abhorrent Rapture, a shorter EP instead, and while this is a little bit different, this is a little bit more atmospheric, it is still gross. It is just filthy death metal, very old school, lots of incantation vibes on there, similar to Drawn and Quartered, and I would say a little bit more atmosphere in here due to the fact that I think the production was deliberately a bit muddier, so everything is just sort of reverb drenched. This album is just pure filth and riffs. It sounds like it crawled out of a swamp or a sewer instead of actually being recorded in a studio by human beings. No, this was probably recorded by zombies. Of course, since we're talking about gross death metal, those are all compliments. This is another filthy offering from these guys. A little bit muddier this time, and I kind of wish they'd tweak a little bit of the production, but overall the tunes spoke for themselves. It's just disgusting. All 4 tracks in here whoop ass, and if you have not checked out Witch Vomit, this is not a bad place to start. But I would just say check out everything, because all their releases are good, and this one included. Number 8, check it out. Gateway, Flesh Reborn. I heard a lot of rumblings about this EP, all throughout the YouTube community, and I decided to check this out. This is a 2-man death doom group. I believe they are from Belgium. I can't quite remember, but I remember pretty much listening to this and just feeling this album. This is just flat out disgusting death doom. The production on here is wall to wall, just dissonance and murk. It almost sounds like if Godflesh just took on death doom 100%, because the drums might be a drum machine. They kind of sound like that. They kind of have that, you know, Godflesh sort of canned drum sound, but it also might be real drums just used to mix that way. The vocals are cavernous as hell. Everything echoes. There is no escape from the giant oppressive music on here. It is so bleak and, well, awesome, because I like that kind of shit. This is 4 tracks of some of the nastiest death doom I've heard this year, and I've listened to a lot of death doom, but when it came down to just the overall feel of this album, this is one of the most oppressive EPs I think I listened to all year. So if you are a giant death doom fan and you love incredibly heavy production and your music to sound as bleak as the cold, shitty, rainy weather outside right now, this right here, jam it, pick it up. It's really good. Actually, go check out all their stuff too, because it's also all really damn good. If you're tired of feeling happy and smiling, this album will correct that behavior. Just play it, the entire thing, and just kind of let the audio misery just seep into your pores and your eardrums and other orifices you left open. It's pretty gross, it's pretty awesome. Number 7, definitely check it out. Fossilization, He Whose Name Was Long Forgotten. Another one on Everlasting's Pew. Good year, guys. This is the debut EP from this Brazilian death doom band. John and I reviewed this forever ago, and actually this one caught the attention of Max Cavalera, which I still think is remarkable. But anyway, this really made an impression on us. This is very atmospheric death doom. I loved how this album just kind of laid on the most bleak of atmosphere, but it didn't stay slow the entire time. They actually sped it up. There was like variety in the songwriting. They do lay on the tremolo a little bit, but honestly, going back to this repeatedly, that was something I really liked about this, because it really helps create the atmosphere. Because everything on here is reverb drenched and just sounds like it was recorded at the bottom of a well. I really dig this. All these songs are incredible. This is just the start for these guys. I believe they are working on a full length now. At least that's what I heard. I am eager to check that out. This was a great sample size offer, and it's a relatively long EP. Loaded with killer riffs, loads of atmosphere, and just a creepy vibe all throughout. If you have not checked this out yet, I strongly recommend it, especially if you like more atmospheric death doom. This definitely will scratch that itch. So yeah, number 6 overall. Good job, guys. Into the top 5 we go with Creeping Death, The Edge of Existence. I was definitely stoked to hear this one. I was a big fan of their debut album, Wretched Illusions. That actually made a year-end list when that came out. And these guys came back with possibly a stronger offering. Production-wise, they beefed up everything, especially the guitars. The guitars in here, they found, I don't know, something new in terms of a combination of settings in there to just make a filthy guitar tone. This is very much in the vein of old school death metal, of course, wrapped up with a little bit of hardcore to give it some extra bite and groove, and holy shit, these songs whoop ass. The title track and Humanity Transcends, 2 of my favorites on here. Now, some of this is re-recorded from earlier material, but this still has original material on it, so of course I left it on here. Overall, this is an absolutely banging, all-killer, no-filler EP. This pretty much checks off everything I like about death metal. Loads of groove, lots of memorable riffs. It's high energy as hell, it's in your face, and I loved pretty much every second of this. So yeah, number 5 right here, Creeping Death, The Edge of Existence. Again, like I'll say for all these, if you have not checked this out yet, I strongly recommend doing so. If you love just riffy, old school death metal, kind of in the vein of like Gatecreeper or Obituary, stuff like that, definitely check this out. This is an absolutely banging EP, and it is my number 5. Tribal Gaze, Godless, Voyage. It's the debut EP from, I believe this is also a Texas-based death metal act, much like Creeping Death. And these guys kind of deliver on that same thing, except I think the hardcore vibes are a little bit stronger, and they aren't afraid to get a little bit more along the lines of brutal death occasionally. There are suffocation-level breakdowns all over this, especially the opening track, Towers of Illness. This is yet another one I picked up on a whim, and once I jammed it a few times, I was pretty much like, yeah, this might be a year-end EP list one. because they pretty much deliver on every track. Every track has solid riffs, great breakdowns, the songwriting's strong. It's not super technical, but it isn't just, you know, dull vanilla riffing at all. This is just heavier than hell, and there's a little bit of that HM2 kind of, you know, nastiness, the guitar tone. I absolutely love this EP. Across the board, these guys killed it. Again, definitely want to check out, especially if you love groovy, old school death metal, and a little bit of hardcore punch to it, but also just a smidge of brutal death metal on here. Awesome stuff. Number 4 overall. Check it out. Cult of Luna, The Raging River. This is easily the longest EP on here. I believe this is almost 40 minutes worth of music here, if not maybe more so. I'm a long-time Cult of Luna fan. In fact, A Dawn to Fear was on my year-end list for 2019, and I still absolutely love that album, but I think this EP delivered something else that album was kind of missing in spots. This one, I think they beefed up the production and made it a bit heavier, and then made it even more dismal in spots. The opening track, Three Bridges, pretty much delivers on everything I love about really good post-metal. Long song building, lots of atmosphere, there's lots of extra percussion, keys, but it kind of represents a different kind of heavy. Like, post-metal just has a unique feel to it, and Cult of Luna are one of the best at it. Now, I don't know if this is better than A Dawn to Fear overall, just because A Dawn to Fear had a lot of songs I absolutely loved in that, and this is just a little bit shorter. But man, this is a solid offering. They even got Mark Lanigan from Screaming Trees to do a song in there, and it's just absolutely creepy and haunting. This pretty much delivers on everything that Cult of Luna is really good at, and I love all the emotion that is just poured into this. I know they have a new full length coming out next year. I am definitely looking forward to that, but for now, this EP holds sway at number 3 overall on my EP list. And if you are a giant post-metal fan, hopefully you already got this, but if you haven't, you missed out. Go check it out. It is amazing. Number 2, Gatecreeper, An Unexpected Reality. This is a true blue COVID album. These guys recorded this pretty much during the pandemic, and they made this a 2-piece offering of 2 things they do extraordinarily well. The first 7 tracks on here are straight up death grind songs. Lots of D-beat, blast beats. Actually, this contains some of the fastest stuff I've heard Gatecreeper play in their career so far. And while this front half is completely loaded with all things grind and crust and filth, and of course with their token HM2 sound along the way, the back half, or namely the last track that takes up almost as much time as the first 7, Emptiness, is pure death doom glory. That song is so damn catchy. It is bleak, it is just oppressive as hell, definitely kind of calls back to the heavier moments of Paradise Lost, and I love the fact that this EP showed off 2 sides of the band that aren't really explored as much. Like, most of the time they love that mid-tempo groove, a little bit of the D-beat, you know, a little bit of that hardcore flair. This shows off, again, grindcore and more up-tempo material, and then flat-out death doom. Like, they slowed it down even more than they usually do. So props to these guys for throwing out something very different. I imagine they're working on something new right now, and I am super eager just because I think these guys branched out their sound quite a bit. So yeah, number 2 overall. Way to go, Gatecreeper. If for some reason you have not checked this out yet, I know a lot of people were super hyped on this one. Definitely check it out. In fact, if you ignored it just because everyone hyped it up, just ignore the fact that people hyped it up and just listen to it, because it is legit awesome. So yeah, check it out. And my number 1 EP of 2021 is Perilaxe, Occlusion, Raytraces of Death. Now, I got hit to these guys on their first demo, which is also absolutely amazing, and if I hadn't bought it late, I probably would have been on an EP list from last year. This pretty much, I think, upped the ante on everything they did well on that first demo, and included more atmosphere, and the riffs just somehow even catchier, because every riff on the other demo was absolutely amazing too. And when you couple that with the fact that this is based on graphic design, so is the first one, it just kind of makes for a unique listen, because you think all these lyrics are bleak and about like Satan and ghouls and goblins and I don't know, all that shit. It's not. It's about, you know, designing shit on a computer, which is absolutely awesome. Fly the nerd flag high, man. I love that. But this delivers on like just great riffy stuff that is very akin to bands like Tomb Mold. And in a year that was absent of a Tomb Mold release, which it seemed like there shouldn't have been, this really kind of filled that void. All 3 tracks on here, flat out whoop ass. I have jammed the living shit out of this. This has some of the heaviest riffs I've heard, at least on an EP this year, for damn sure. Flat out killer release. These guys got a hold of us and thanked us for the review, and they even sent us like some t-shirts and a sticker. Thank you guys once again. I had a feeling this would be high on my list in terms of EPs because it's been difficult not to listen to this, and I have to listen to other shit in order to make rankings and reviews. I want to listen to this even more, but now that we're wrapping up the year, I have more time to do that. So I recommend you guys do that too. Find this album, jam the hell out of it. It is flat out killer. Kind of unique in terms of at least themes and death metal, but God, man, riffs, atmosphere, oppressive, just graphic design stuff for Satan or something. I don't know. I don't care. It's awesome. #1 EP for me this year. Definitely check it out. All right, that wraps up my top 10 EPs of 2021. It's been a great year for music in general. I mean, I've definitely listened to a fuck ton of it, and we're gonna get cracking on year-end lists here soon. We're probably gonna review just a couple more things before that comes out, but I believe everyone will have a list, and it's bound to be interesting. There's bound to be some stuff that we all agree on and plenty we don't, because that's kind of the fun of this. So what were your favorite EPs of this year? Let me know down in the comments for sure. If there are some that I missed for whatever reason and you put them down in the comments and I check them out and I like them, there's a good chance you'll see them in a collection update because it's me. That's what I do. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you would like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below in the description. We also have shirts available, and we will be reloading on stuff here soon. But for now, if you would like a t-shirt and we have one in your size, hit us up on thrallsofmetal@gmail.com. Send us a message there. We'll get back to you and hopefully sell you a shirt. Thank you guys so much. It has been, what, now 3 years? Pretty much 3 years we've been doing this, and the response has been amazing, and it's all due to you guys. Thank you so much. You guys keep us coming back. You keep us wanting to pump out tons of metal-related stuff because we just love doing it. Here's hoping that 2022 is badass musically, just like this one was, and just better than 2021. Just better. It still wasn't great. It was better than 2020, which sucked, but let's just, let's keep moving forward because we're not out of this shit yet. So with that, once again, thank you all very much for watching, and we will catch you later.